5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Here we are. Hello again, and other amazing experts just right under your or in your fingertips, because we are helping you, and we try to support you in this era of what is this vulnerability and insecurity. We are all here to support you with more than 200 experts. You can ask questions. And Richard, how are you today? How is everything in Australia? Is it getting better?
Look, I don't know. I'm in here in Melbourne, in Australia, which is probably the epicenter of what's happening. So yeah, look, it's just life continues on as it was, pretty much at the moment.
All right. But I hope you are keeping up and everything is okay. You are anyway.
Yes.
You're working online and
I'm working online, so it does. Yes. So yeah.
Not so much of a change. Can you already go out and have some run or do some outside activities?
We can do it. Yeah, we go out quite regularly to the park and that kind of thing. So that's all good. Yeah, we can connect with nature and get some fresh air. No problems at all.
Tell me a little bit more about yourself, just to warm up. We have like around 30 minutes together. So let the audience know, who is Richard. Do you like to play tennis, or are you a bowling person? What's your favorite sport?
I don't really play any sport, but some things that I have done, which some people might consider surprising, seeing that I'm actually 6'10" tall. So people say, "Yeah, do you play basketball?" And I always say, no. Anyway, no, what I like doing is actually I have a mountain bike, so I just like to go out and ride on the trails around near my house, which is I love doing that. One thing I did enjoy doing as I was growing up in my younger days, not so much now. I liked going swimming actually in the pool, just doing laps in the pool. So I quite enjoy that as an activity. If I did have to play a sport, I'd probably choose volleyball. Actually, I quite enjoy volleyball as a particular sport. So, yeah.
That's nice. I was following my parents to volleyball all the time when I was little. I was the only one in my family who haven't played that, because I didn't like it. Always hurt my hands, when you are serving and you're doing the movement. So I was like, no, that's not for me. So I ended up dancing.
What I like about volleyball is that you don't run around as much as doing basketball. So
That's true. So let's go further to your specific topic, which is connect with your customers on their preferred platform. So first, let's just say, what do you mean under preferred platform, and why is it so important to connect the customers there?
Well, it's really because, so going back a few steps, I guess, people obviously are online a lot more these days than what they were. People have grown up in different areas, different times, and what they, so people are used to different forms of communicating. So that's where I think it gets back to is, how do people prefer communicating? Is it via phone? So some of us older ones would, say we prefer, maybe not writing letters these days, but certainly maybe making phone calls to actually talk to people. Whereas some of the younger ones come back to, well, actually I hang out on text messages, or I hang out on social media, in Messenger, on Instagram, or even, where I'm hanging out is actually in a game environment on Steam, which hosts chat functions for all sorts of gaming functions. So that's where a lot of communication can take place too. So I guess finding out what somebody's preferred platform is critical to be able to communicate them the most effectively, I think. And so, like, for example, I can tell you a story about a book ghostwriter. So somebody who writes books for other people, and that's, for people go, oh, really? That's actually quite a common practice, is getting somebody else to write your book for you. You provide the information, but they actually do the writing. So this person, he was having trouble. He's having trouble communicating, getting new customers on board, and his coach at the time suggested to him that, well, what are you actually doing to get them on board? And he says, well, they email me and then I email them back. And when you think about it, well, if somebody's wanting to get their book written, do they really like writing? So communicating with them by email is probably not the best thing to be doing. So they suggested, well, how about getting them off email as quick as they could? And so they basically sent an initial proposal by email and said, well, let's jump on the phone. So then the next few steps are then on the phone, and they end up having a lot more success by doing that. So yeah, that's an example, I think, of a way of communicating with finding out where your customers like to hang out and communicating with that in that manner. So it's about you being adaptable to their requirements rather than you forcing your requirements on them.
And how do you figure out which one, what platform? I mean, the main question here is how to start, right? Because you have your customers, you get them somewhere, you are communicating with them some ways, but how do you find their ideal platform?
I guess part of it's, is really doing the research and finding out, well, what demographic are your customers in? I think, and from that, you can make a certain number of assumptions. There's a lot of research being done in different areas. And once you've done that research to find out where, and just look online as well, find out what groups people are in. If you've got existing customers, just talk to them and find out what they prefer doing. That's often one of the best ways, is just survey your existing customers.
Yes,
and find out what they prefer.
Like the main thing, the easiest way is to ask them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Ask the question.
But yes, it's also very nice that you mentioned the location, right? Very important. Also the cultural habits, I guess, and maybe their age group, or because every different generations, as we are in a summit which is talking about intergenerational communication, every single generation uses different platforms, right? Can you tell us a little bit which platforms are for whom concerning age groups, if you have such kind of knowledge or information?
Look, yes, I don't have detailed knowledge on that because I tend to work in particular platforms myself. I'm not sort of typically involved in doing that research. But look, again, I think you could sort of look at the kind of one assumption you can make is sort of when the particular technology came about. So so as I said before, us older ones like to sort of jump on the phone. Then maybe the next sort of group down would potentially, prefer to communicate via text. So again, I'm not defining a particular age group necessarily, but then I think, and then the younger ones again, Generation Z, whatever it might be, would maybe prefer to be on something maybe more social, or even on those other alternative platforms like Twitch or Steam or whatever it might be. So they're just other places where they tend to, would hang out, which us oldies would have no idea about.
Which is very, very important. Like, really, there are so many different tools. So I know also that a lot of people don't like when I was organizing this summit, a lot of people don't like WhatsApp groups, for example. But in Asia, it's booming. So everyone is using it. Everyone is using WhatsApp for communication, and they are in tons of WhatsApp groups. But then I saw Telegram, you have Messenger, you have like Discord, you have so many community apps coming up. Let's go further to your own priority. Like, what is your platform that you prefer? And let's go further for the tools that you use there to communicate with your customers.
Yeah, I'll just comment on what you were saying there about the geographic areas. I think is a common one too. Like you mentioned, like WhatsApp. Yeah, it's here in Australia, there is a certain percentage of people that use it. But again, I have a friend who's from Africa, and he said, like, in Africa, WhatsApp is the app. Everybody uses it. It's like yeah, I mean, people do use Messenger over there as well, but it's, yeah, WhatsApp is the main one that people use. And obviously in China particularly, it's WeChat, WeChat all the way. It's just, when people start talking about WeChat, it's like, you've lost me because I have no idea. It's because it's partly obviously it's in a different language, but it's also a whole different culture and environment that we just don't know anything about here. So except if you're in that sort of demographic. So, but yeah, getting to over to the platforms that I use. So so what I do is particularly involved with chatbots, which exist primarily for me on Facebook Messenger and also now on Instagram. So through the Instagram direct message platform, all their functionality. So they're my two main platforms that I work with. Obviously, there's software that works behind the scenes for that, but in terms of where people are using the chatbot functionality, it's in Messenger and in Instagram. And the Instagram side is a fairly new one. It's only had that functionality available since opened up in the platform since about June this year. So most people don't know anything about it at all. They don't realize it even exists. So it's just really a whole new world of opportunity for those who know about it and can take advantage of it before the word gets out.
And how you can still keep it human when the chatbots are coming into the picture? I just hate websites where I want help from someone, and then I write my message, and then a bot is coming up and asking me a lot of questions that I'm not interested in, and I'm so waiting for the human connection that someone from the agents are coming and answering my question, my specific question. So
Yeah.
what is working? How can you stay human with the chatbot messages?
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, there's a great variety of chatbots, and the ones on websites are just one sort of area. The ones that I do on Messenger, we can have various different entry points to them. So whether that's through Facebook ads, so it's a different experience than just going to a website and asking a question. But often we've got a specific purpose we're trying to achieve, which might be enrolling people for a webinar, or it's maybe giving away a free gift or something like that. So there's a specific purpose to it. So it's a very easy sort of conversation to design. But you're right on those website situations. It's really coming down to thinking through thoroughly how people use the platform. Messenger is typically used by between two people to have a chat about a particular topic, subject. So it's really keeping those conversations in that same vein and keeping them conversational and providing the information in an easy way. And just keep in mind too that it's not necessarily about answering all their questions in that format, but it's about providing that bridging experience between, say, the website and between a live person can actually then get in and perhaps answer the full question if there is a full question that hasn't been answered. So it's about providing that nice experience, make them feel like they've been listened to and know where to go to find the info if they need to, and that somebody will get back to them to answer their questions. So
it's kind of like a top of the funnel to warm them up, right? And,
well, certainly certainly the website is top of funnel, the top of funnel experience. Some of the other entry points can be sort of mid to the bottom funnel, but and that obviously changes the maybe how you design the conversation as well. So.
And who are the people who for whom your services and this kind of communication can be useful for? You were mentioning having online courses, but who are those people who can take advantage of this kind of setup in Messenger, on Facebook, or on Instagram?
Yeah, look, that's a great question. I think the world is open to most businesses to be able to use this kind of functionality. Certainly on Instagram, some of the key groups that would use it would be businesses that have an e-commerce presence that are showcasing their products. Also, the world of influencers is one that's very much useful, up for using this technology on Instagram. It's a lot of influencers wouldn't be particularly business savvy, and so this provides a way for them to actually grow some assets with their own business that they can then sort of actually start ending up making charging higher rates, I guess, to the people who want to sort of put their, promote their products through their services, through their platform. Another area would be real estate, because you obviously see a lot of houses being promoted on Instagram itself. It's a very visual medium, so that's a very good area for chatbots as well. And then when you move over to Messenger, again, a lot of those e-commerce it's great for that, real estate. But I said, yeah, virtually any business can use. It's really about thinking creatively. Well, what way, what are some ways I can use this technology to actually, be there as my virtual 24-hour assistant that helps get people, bridging the gap between when people want to ask the question and when I can actually get back to them. So it's about exploring those possibilities.
Is it possibilities? We are very aligned and synchronized. So we finished the sentence you started and I started with possibilities. So basically, possibilities, thinking about this, like what are there possibilities to manage groups? Like, today Facebook is all there for working for building communities through Facebook groups. Is there an opportunity to use this technology to enhance the communication within the group or get members?
You could use it certainly to help get members into the group. That's for sure. Within managing the group functionality within the group, not so much. Messenger itself is sort of a quite distinct entity from the Facebook group functionality, but certainly you could use it to bring people into that group from other places. That's for sure. If you go away from Facebook side of things, another area of possibility, which is there's a lot of potential, I think, and possibility, is with people who are on Clubhouse. So I'm not sure if you're aware or if you use Clubhouse, but a lot of, and I've only recently become aware of this myself, but a lot of people who are running Clubhouse chats or groups, they manage their text conversations through Instagram. So there's often an Instagram account that's associated with a Clubhouse chat.
Yes.
And a lot of the text chat that goes on in the background beside the voice chat happens in Instagram. So there's a lot of potential there for saying, the leader of the Clubhouse saying, well, if you want to get for example, the show notes from this chat, send us comment this in our Instagram, and then you can have a chatbot functionality there that then automatically then start sending out the show notes to those people who comment, for example. Mm-hmm. That's just one area. So that can help provide extra information, also get people onto, if you're interested in building a list from your Clubhouse experience, well, that's certainly one way of doing it quite easily. So yeah, there's
amazing idea. I think it's something that creativity comes into the picture here also.
Yes.
Because originally, yes, Clubhouse is not a platform which is used like Instagram, but because it's connected to Instagram, then you can already use the functionality of Instagram to send the people there and back between your different accounts.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. It's about enhancing the functionality. That's right.
So if you are doing this, and if you are a professional, and we are here with you, so I would like to ask a few things. What are the do's and the don'ts? Because I'm sure there are so many things that people should avoid to do when they are setting up their chat boxes or chatbots in Messenger, for example. So what are the things that you would say, don't do it, never, ever? And what are the things that people should do because it's proven for you that it's a good tactic?
Yeah, that's another good question. I think probably the biggest don't is don't try and feed too much into your chat, too much information, because like you're trying to force. Then it's like trying to force information down somebody's throat, and it's just doesn't fit with that whole conversational. So send your, if you do have got information to send it in little chunks. Try and whittle it down. Just and another, along the same vein, another do would be sort of try, if you're wanting to collect their email address and their phone number as part of the process, do that. Try and get hold of that as soon as you can in the process. So it's really about finding ways to make that creatively sort of ask for their email address sort of fairly on in the process. So that's a big do. And again, don't make it too long, because again, people just go, this is never ending. Just get to the point as quick as you can. So look, and that's often the most, keep it simple. Don't try and make it too complicated. I know you can do, there are chatbots out there. For example, Domino's did have a chatbot. I'm not sure if it's still existing, where you could do a complete pizza order through the messenger chatbot, which is pretty amazing use of the technology. Can be done. That's a bit more advanced. Relies on a really custom programming to do that sort of thing with it. But again, that certainly had a purpose and it was doable. But essentially, for most businesses, keep it simple. Often you don't need to have more than about 5 or 6 steps in the whole process to achieve what you need to do. That's probably my 2 biggest takeaways. Keep it simple. Don't try to throw too much information at people. But also, again, coming back to keeping it conversational and fun. People use emojis, they use images, they use GIFs and all that kind of thing. So put them in this. Don't make it boring, just text. text, full-on text. Plain text is just too boring.
Especially people are not really reading today, so I really got to realize that if it's longer than 5 words, people will not read it anymore.
Well, they get switched off. That's exactly right. So.
It's really, really a good advice for everything on social media. What would you say would be the first step if someone would like to start and experience the chatbot, just as I first think, like without first involving with you and your services? How can they experience it on their end and see whether it's for them?
I think the best thing would be to go to one of the chatbot platforms that are out there that offer a free account just to play with. So the most popular one the most well-known one I think that's out there is ManyChat. So that would be a good one to start with. It'll give you an experience of how the things work. It does cut out features on the free plan. You don't get access to everything, all the good fun stuff, but at least give you a taste of how it works and how you can go about setting ones up. So that'd be my suggestion. And there's plenty of tutorials out there. Go and look at YouTube. On ManyChat, they have lots of tutorials. I think they have their own university, actually, sort of training system. So you could go through that as well, learn about it. I know there's courses on Udemy as well to learn about chatbots and creating chatbots. So that's another avenue if you just want to, in the learning mode. Again, it's all down to your style, whether you prefer to try it out or whether you just sit back and watch videos and learn that way. So, and again, that's a generational thing, isn't it?
How is it working with you? Do you do a mapping before you start with a customer, or what do they do first when they say, all right, I was talking to Richard, let's go to Richard and let's start something? So what will be the first meeting be like? You will ask for all our accounts and check it through and make a mapping and then give us a tailor-made offer, or you will straight away let us try something with our audiences?
Look, the first step is really to find out sort of what the goal is. So I've basically got a process that I go through to look at, well, what's the goal? What do they want to achieve? Look at then what are the potential entry points? What's the demographics? To then sort of get an idea of how we're going to sort of structure the whole thing. So, and what parts, where do we want to put our chatbots? Is it a website chatbot, or is it, more like bottom of funnel stuff where we're working with existing buyers and that kind of thing to try and bring them into, because as we all know, it's typically more expensive to acquire new customers than to make more, to get more money out of existing customers. So we always try and work with the existing ones to enhance the amount of return we're getting from our existing customers first, and then work back up the funnel. So it's really, as I say, we look at various different aspects of the goals, what they're wanting to achieve, and what the entry points might be for them. So, and again, if it's a particular industry, I already know sort of a few different areas where we can work quite effectively to in terms of entry points to make the most for their clients. So for example, real estate. we can do things like putting QR codes on the display boards in their when they have open house inspections. Not that there's too many of them happening these days, or it's changed a lot, but you can put QR codes that then can bring people into a sequence where they get all the information about the property, and then we can set an automatic follow-up sequence to say to bring them back into the conversation. So rather than just walking away with a brochure, and maybe an email address which could have been faked or whatever, we know the agent's got a definite way of contacting them in the future. So that's sort of a rough guide to sort of the process. That's really doing analysis, maybe looking at their existing messenger inbox and seeing what kind of questions are being asked to sort of inform what information we want to put in there, all that kind of thing. So
beautiful tips. So basically, you can reach out to Richard on LinkedIn. I know that he's there, so please search for him. And if you write in the comments GES 2021, I'm sure he will accept the request, because he will know that you are coming with questions around this topic. And please feel free to connect with him. He's really good in what he's doing. That's why he's featured in this platform. So I'm really, really happy to have you here, Richard. Thank you for this interview. And I'm looking forward to other things coming up soon. And thank you very much for being here today. We are switching the studio with Salvatore, your other fan. So he will come up and then he will join us in the studio, and I'm super happy to have him here. Let me just bring him up so that we can say hi to each other. Hi, Salvatore.
Hello.
How are you today? How are you, Salvatore?
I'm good. I'm good. How is everyone?
Nice
Excellent.
to see you here. It was a good chat. We learned a lot about chatbots today.
Yeah, I was sitting in the background just listening to you two talk. It's amazing.
So let me just fix the studio. Thank you very much, Richard, for being here. I will play a little teaser again, and then I will see you with Salvatore talking about a different topic. Feel free to reach out to Richard. You see the name here, and you just have to write to him on LinkedIn, GES 2021 in the connection request, and he will accept you. See you, Richard. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello. Here we are with Salvatore. How are you, Salvatore? How is everything going for you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Also very good. I am all alive after 2 weeks. This is the third week, so I'm really, really happy already being alive.
That's a good plus point.
Yeah. So Salvatore is a very happy guy. I'm connected to him because of our common friends with Richard and Salvatore Edwardzia. He's the best community builder I have ever met. And
Agreed.
Actually, I was saying that Edward is sponsoring whole Australia, because everyone who is coming from Australia is the friend of Edward, and it's part of his community. So please check out Edwardzia on LinkedIn and Leslie Zia. They are doing amazing work for building a beautiful community, and they're giving their heart to support everyone. I can tell you, you will receive comments from him. Every single post that you do, he will be there. Right, Salvatore?
It's true, with his heart.
With hearts and every single WhatsApp message, everything. So I'm really, really happy to get to know him. And I'm happy to get to know you, Salvatore. But people don't know you yet. So let's start with a little introduction, not just professional, but also personal. Tell us a little things about yourself. What's your favorite food? You are from Spain, so tell us a little bit about Spain and introduce a little bit yourself to the audience.
Yeah, well, I normally confuse people with my accent because I was actually born in the UK, even though I'm living in Spain now. So I'm very lucky to have two parents, Spanish and Italian father. So I've got a very cross mixture there, and it allows me to, just to basically see different cultures and stuff like that. So Food wise, yeah, I guess my typical pizza man kind of style is my favorite kind of food. Even though I'm into fitness, and you'll see in a minute why I say something like pizza, because naturally people think I should say salad or chicken or something like that, but I don't. I enjoy food. And my background is I'm 45 years of age, and I'm very much into my own fitness and well-being, and that's what I try to help people with as well. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Tell us a little bit of things in Spanish. I always wanted to learn a little bit Spanish. It's afternoon here. How do you say good afternoon?
Buenas tardes is how you say it. And Spain's lovely. It's always been home from home for me. I love the culture. I love the relaxed lifestyle, but they can kick it up a notch when it needs to be. Now it's 9:30 in the morning, so most of Spain's probably still asleep. But it's
That's
for
true,
me.
siesta.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be up now, and then they'll be closing down at 2:00 again. It's a very different culture to anywhere else in the world. They are very much about life first, and then everything else after that. And I know I've probably got my Spanish friends that are watching this, and they'll probably go, very business orientated. They'll be like, no, we do 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. But it's a very good, a very good lifestyle in regards to you can have essentially both. I find Spain, you can have a great life. The weather's good, which is a bonus. Me leaving the UK where it's pretty much rainy and grey. So the weather, I find, helps people become more positive. There's a lot more smiles. When people walk around, they're very open to say hello to you. Where a lot of countries I've been to, they're very close, and they it's very hard. I walk around and I say hello and smile to everyone, as you know. And in some countries that's not greeted as very well. Where over here, it's helped me make a lot of good friends.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite places. I love the Mediterranean diets. I love the food there. I really love the area, the musicality, the rhythm, the kind of like happy freedom lifestyle, which I was always about, like, just going around with people, nicely be human with each other, and then be very, very dynamic at the same time. Yeah. That's what I feel. And also taking rest time to time.
Yeah, it's true. And, I find I spent, obviously the last year and a bit, hasn't been great for a lot of people. And, I don't particularly want to go into the pandemic side of things, but I did the first part of the pandemic, the first lockdown in the UK. And then after that, I moved over here, and I felt that the Spanish way of living helped a lot of people being able to deal with the pandemic. Just by the way they are, they're much open to communicate, and like you said, the lifestyle, where they're able to do stuff, to feel that vibe that much better. They get that positive things just from not. I keep saying the weather because it makes a massive impact in people's lives.
But charged, like keep being charged with the D vitamin all the time,
Of course. So it was very it's very even for me, I'm constantly learning, but to be able to see how people adapt in different countries was a good eye opener for me too.
Yeah, that's a very, very good tip actually, to visit Spain and then feel this feeling yourself once it's possible, because it's just, we cannot really describe it how it is, but we can give you a little taster with the help of Salvatore.
Yeah, definitely. I've always said to people, I'm not trying to be biased because I live here, but I believe that Spain has something for everyone, irrelevant of where you are in the world. And I know that where you are, you've got some amazing places, but to step out of where you are and go somewhere that you don't know, I always find that Spain's a good place that people can try out and walk away knowing that they had a good time.
Great tips. So everyone who is interested in Spain, please go and visit Salvatore there.
I can see my guest list.
You can refer GES 2021 when you knock on the door, and then he will let you in.
Yeah.
Let's figure out a new way of connecting people.
Brilliant. My
Oh,
door is
it's
open.
it's really nice to have you here with all the positive energy, and it's really,
Thank
really
you.
good
Thank you for having me.
to have you in the studio. People need to cheer up. That's the period when everyone needs a little bit of elevation. And also, our topic today is nutrition habits and lifestyle changes, which is so important because we are more inside. We are sitting more in front of the computer. We are more busy because companies realize that you can sit in front of the computer 24/7 and they can give you an exercise or a task anytime when they want. So Salvatore, where to start? What exactly is nutrition and why is it so important for keeping it on a healthy base?
Yeah, I think, the nutrition and lifestyle changes have adapted hugely. I think over the course of the last 2 years, a lot of people have adapted, a lot of people haven't adapted. And I think this is where nutrition habits have now changed a lot. I've had to adapt the way that I deal with my clients and the way their lifestyle is, because exactly what you just said. The majority of people that are, some are still in lockdown, but prior to last year, a lot of people, they were just suddenly the basics were just taken away from them. You weren't allowed to leave your house. You just had to do this. And nutrition habits and lifestyle changes now, for me, have changed dramatically, where before you could go into so much more details because you knew that person was leaving the house. They were commuting. They were doing the basic steps. They were just doing basic movements, where now I speak to some people and they haven't left their house in maybe 3-4 days, even though they've got the ability now to leave their homes. And this is where we are literally creatures of habits. It's very easy for us to fall into, like a rut, or fall into a habit or routine that we don't actually realize is bad, is negative for us. So now when I meet someone new and they ask me about nutrition habits and lifestyle changes, the first thing I do is I say to them, keep it basic. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of us don't even have the basics. Like nutrition, I could go into detail about the calories, the macros in regards to protein, fats, and and carbohydrates. We can talk about how much you should be eating and what and how much you'd be drinking and so on. But the thing is, people are not even doing the basics in regards to just leaving their desk. And you hit on a subject which I use a lot, and you said about work and companies and getting people to sit at their desk. People have forgotten they're allowed breaks. They're allowed to get off their desk, go and make themselves a cup of tea. So when I have a new client, the first thing I do is we create habits of, one, nutritionally wise, we don't try to remove habits. When it comes to habits and routine changes, it's a lot easier to change a habit than try to remove one and replace it with a brand new one. So what I try to do is I try to change up people's existing habits with the lifestyle they've got, without making like a whirlwind in their lifestyle. And then all of a sudden it's just like, whoa, panic stations, because a lot of people will
they want to change it at once, everything. Yes. Right?
and you know that when you want, you're amazing when it comes to pressure and how to deal with things, right? But a lot of people, when they say, oh, I'm going to do like a fat loss journey, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to change things, they put so much pressure on themselves. And sometimes that pressure is enough that they start one day and then the next day it's too much for them. And this is why we need to make sure that we take nice small steps. So essentially we can go, okay, well, today we are going to just do this and this. And that may be the case of every hour or every 60 or 90 minutes, I'm going to ask you, and we put in a habit in there. So essentially you get up, you leave your desk, wherever it may be. Some people's desks or offices are in their bedroom or actually in their office or whatever it may be. But get up and just go and get some fresh air. Just go and stand outside your front door, stand on the balcony, stand wherever it may be. Just so you suddenly are away from that working environment. And I literally have people walk out of the room because it's a lot easier where you just walk around your desk. but what you need to do is break that habit where you are not. And I always say to a lot of people, our worst enemy can be this, our phones.
Even when
And
you go to walk, then you are doing it like this.
exactly. So what you need to do is make sure that when you leave your working environment, is make sure that this stays down with your work. So you're allowed then, so you are physically just allowed to refresh your mind a little bit. And this is where the lifestyle changes then comes into the nutrition habits. Because what's happened is there have been a lot of people that haven't dealt with what's happened over the last, couple of years, shall we say, coming up to
2 years already, yeah.
Yeah. Haven't dealt with it. And obviously nutrition is a massive factor where it's mind and body connected. So there's a lot of people that will emotionally eat. And this is why we have seen a lot of people that have become depressed or not able to deal with things very well. And when that emotion kicks in, your eating habits kind of go out the window, and it's snack. So I always say to people, when it comes to nutrition habits, is kind of like you would with everything else. I speak to many people and they can plan what they want to do this weekend, but they have no idea what they're going to eat today. And it's like having a very basic idea of what you're going to buy when you go to the supermarket. People are good at writing to-do list, but they won't write a shopping list. What happens is you go into the shop, the supermarket, and all of a sudden you're hungry. And we all know that essentially the bad foods, there's not really any bad food. But
they look very catchy. You want to pick them up.
Of course they do. Right? Of course they do. Marketing is great for that. So, all the biscuits and chocolates and all that stuff are in colorful packaging. So when you walk around, you're just like, wow.
Yeah, you don't see the boring oatmeal, in the white transparent.
Yeah. I mean, I had this conversation about oatmeal. That's a great example, right? I had a conversation about oatmeal 2 days ago with a client. Oatmeal don't even do most oatmeal companies don't even do packaging. They just do a see-through bag with oatmeal written on it. That's how they don't care. It's how boring their packaging is, because they know that somebody won't buy oatmeal because it tastes amazing. It's just good for what it is. And that's why breaking it right down, it's kind of the mentality of making sure that you do everything in small steps. You brought it up where you said, everybody wants everything to happen today, and everybody wants things done like that. It's taken us, and some countries are still in lockdown now, 2 years later. It's very hard to build a lifestyle habit or a nutrition habit that's going to stick for you for 6 months, a year's time.
Mm-hmm.
Long-term planning with lifestyle changes now and nutrition habits, it's very hard. It's kind of gone out the window. So what you need to do is kind of just focus on kind of like the week. So you go, right, for this week, what the overall goal may be. So the majority of me, because of what I do in regards to weight loss and mindset and stuff like that, a lot of people will come to me regarding they want a better lifestyle. They want a more healthier lifestyle. And that's their kind of end goal. So what we do is we break things down on a daily and a weekly kind of goal. So what to focus on today, what to focus on this week, because let's be honest, we have no idea what's going to happen next week.
This is such a good example, because all the 200 experts are asking me, Andrea, what's with my speech is on the 31st of October and I don't have the link yet. And I'm like, well, guys, I'm managing everything week by week. So wait a little bit.
Yeah. It's as long as we get the time right, then we're all right. Yeah. But
I just use the example to tell that, you cannot manage 6 weeks in advance. You need to break it down, and you need to focus on the small steps. Even with nutrition, it's exactly the same like in work, in life. Whenever you are speaking about personal development or professional development, you cannot go for the biggest dream. You can break the dream down into small steps and accessible steps that you can do.
100%. And there'll be a lot of people that be watching this, and they'll be still teaching or coaching people the long-term goal and how to focus on it. And this is where I say to people, never forget what the long-term goal is. have it written down on a post-it note on your desk or on a wall, or, you know, whatever it may be, so you never forget it. But nowadays, we've had to change and adapt things a lot. You know, lifestyle and nutrition habits have changed in the last 10 years. From there, they changed in 20 years, 50 years. You know, we're always constantly changing, but we've never had to change so quickly in such a short period of time because of scenarios that we were put into that we had no control over. And this is why I always kind of tell people it's much better to focus on things that you can actually do than rather than focusing on things that you can't do.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
And that's the reason why now when I get to speak to people and I tell people about their nutrition, it's kind of like, you know, if you can't get out of the house, then let's see what we can do with you in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, I was thinking about sitting in front of the computer, you know, because even me, I'm a dancer and I train a lot, but still, I'm also like moving less. So I was thinking, okay, then I take in less calories and I take less food because my body is not burning that much. So you have to note it down a little bit and give less. Same nutritional value, quality and everything, but a little bit less so that you are not gaining weight while sitting in front of the computer, right? Very simple little steps.
And it's you know, you used a good example there. You know, me and you are both very active people. You know, sitting at a desk, it's like
I'm agitated all the time.
You know, I walk outside and like it's an explosion. It's like, well, I'm out. You know, and this is where I've always said to people that struggle with food, you know, there's a lot of people that struggle with nutrition. When we change that nutrition word to food, there's a lot of people that have, you know, food is the enemy. So this is why I use, you know, when people come to nutrition of food, and when you start talking about what you did, you know, what you're talking about there, I call it fuel. You know, your body is, you know, I've used an example where essentially like a steam train. You know, if we're not moving particularly quick, we don't have to put loads of fuel in because we're not expecting our bodies to go 100 miles an hour. You know, but when we just want to just essentially just poodle along at an average pace, then we need to make sure that fuel is still there, but just not as much. But what we want to do is make sure that fuel is good fuel. And this is where changing up the habits, for example, it's amazing how quickly that you can have a cupboard full of biscuits, crisps and stuff like that. And this cupboard, for some weird reason, will become the kind of cupboard that is the go-to cupboard.
The most open cupboard.
You know, and this is why, you know, it's very important that we need to make sure that, you know, I'm not saying to you, you can't have a sweet cupboard. I'm just telling you that if you're going to do it, make sure you use it as a reward rather than an emotional go-to place. Make sure that you're eating 3 solid meals a day. So you're not eating snacks because you're hungry. And this is where, going back to the conversation we had regarding about work and stuff like that, people are telling me they don't have time to eat. Now they're working from home. And this is something that I can't get my head around. It's like, how did you have time when you were working in front of your bosses in the office and they gave you 45 minutes, an hour for lunch, yet you sit in your own home and you don't even have time to go downstairs and make yourself a cup of tea, let alone have something to eat. And this is why the life balance and the life and the nutrition has to come into the habits, have to kind of interlink.
Integrate, integrate.
It does.
Right.
It's
integration.
100%. And this is why just going back to, you know, the basics and putting these small tips and, you know, habits and routines into place. So you know that when you get up in the morning, if you have a calendar for work, then why don't you put in at 10:30? I'm going to have a 15-minute break. Why don't you put in at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, depending on where you are in the world? You know, it's I'm going to have my lunch, and you actually put in 45 minutes in your calendar. Because we all know that mentally we can't work for 8 hours solid. Our minds just can't deal with it. We're not made to do that. You will achieve much more in your work and personal life if you have regular breaks, and if the fuel that you give yourself is much better. You know,
Oh,
just going back to the
beautiful messages. Just let me interrupt you, Salvatore, because we have a few questions from Charm, and we have like around 4 minutes from this conversation, which is going so fast because we have so much to say. So maybe I will bring you back at another time during this upcoming 4 weeks to talk a little bit more about this topic.
Love to.
It's just amazing. So Sharm is asking about, over here, the elders believe that it's best to eat what is seasonally grown in the locality. Is something folks in Spain do as well? So Sharm is from India. That's in India.
Yeah. So then I think there's a very good culture connection with the Europeans and like Spanish, with the Indians and stuff like that, because of the way their upbringing is. It's very family orientated, but also it's very much with the food side of things. The Spanish are very proud in what they can grow. And obviously seasonal wise, because we've got the weather here, we do get some amazing fruit. We do get amazing foods, and the elderly do kind of believe that you know, it's a different kind of generation to the young generation. You know, the younger generation, you know, they take for granted what's on the shelves in the supermarkets, where the elderly generation, like my uncle in Italy, he's still got his farm there. He's still producing his own kind of, like, you know, vegetables and so on. So he understands what it takes to bring that stuff to the table. And I think this is why there is very much a difference when I speak to someone who's a lot older to then someone who's younger. When I talk to them about food, it's something that's very different. And here it's the same. From the UK to Spain, the Spanish are very much. So yeah, Sharma, you're right. There is definitely the same here, I would say, than it is in India.
I think it's also something that we can mention is the seasonality, because I remember that in Hungary we had this saying that always eat what's in the garden when the season is, right? So we have 4 seasons in Europe. Here it's a little bit different in Asia, but normally what is available right now in the nature, that's better to eat right now than using the frozen food or anything else which is coming from outside. That's also another additional information. And we have another question. Do you feel that is also what in most cases the mind can manage these days due to the unexpected duress, short-term goals? I'm trying to put it together. So I believe that the lot of things that the mind's capability has shrink a little bit during these times.
Yeah, I would. Very, you know, to break this down as best as I possibly can, even the way that I work has had to change dramatically over. So I would say before pandemic, I was 100% a nutrition and a fitness expert. I've had to develop that to make sure that I work on people's mindsets pretty much like a 50-50 split now, because so many people's minds have become, have struggled over this time. And the mind is what's going to be able to get you to get up in the morning. The mind is what's going to make you have a positive day. The mind is what's going to be able to help you keep these habits and routines.
And cook you the food.
Exactly. Yeah, the mind is the reason why you will become better, or the mind is the reason why you stay exactly where you are. And I think
perfect. I believe we yes, let's bring you back. Let's improvise again as usual and bring you back for another session. In the upcoming weeks, we will choose a nice timing to also give your knowledge to other time zones. But in the meantime, please, audience who is watching us, you can reach out to Salvatore on, I believe, on LinkedIn, right?
Yes.
So you can find the name is here just under our pictures, and you can just write to him. Write GES 2021, and don't forget, you can even show up in front of his door in Spain, knock the door, and
my Airbnb is open.
Sorry for this. I'm sending you troops to Spain, but I hope you will get some nice experiences and some nice surprises.
I can't wait.
And you have to tell me if someone really goes there and knocks the door with GES 2021.
Yeah. Don't worry, I will. I'll be blaming you.
So thank you very much, Charm, and also thank you very much, Anis, and all the people who were watching us. And we will bring back Salvatore and the positivity and the D vitamin that he's bringing with him. Thank you very much, and have an awesome
Thank you
day.
much, everyone. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.